news, of the Queen passing away, and people had different thoughts about it, right? And Julius Malema from South Africa said that Africans should not mourn, or rather, him and the South Africans should not mourn, given the history that they have with the Queen. And what was your take on that?
Well, I rarely agree with Julius Malema, but on this note, I would say that he's onto something. I think the fetishization of the Queen's passing has been peculiar to observe, at least. I live in the United States. We obviously broke away from the British Crown several centuries ago, but the coverage of the Queen's funeral has been essentially nonstop. And this has been unfolding while one of our territories, Puerto Rico, has been suffering through a very devastating earthquake. And so it's surprising to me, or perhaps not surprising, but disturbing to me that the media has focused almost exclusively on the Queen. And we've heard very little about our countrymen in Puerto Rico who have been going through so much.
Oh, taking it back home, uh, first of all, were you able to watch the funeral?
I did not watch. No.
Oh, okay. So there was, people have been posting memes and speaking a lot about it, but African presidents being on one bus, and people had very different opinions about it. And I thought it was crazy, right? I thought it was insane. And it just went forward to show how powerless African leaders are.
Say that, I think the sad part about it is that African leaders felt the need to attend in the first place. I'm not sure, the Queen is not the leader of the UK. She is a figurative leader. And the idea that she should be accorded the kind of respect that we might expect for, say, a British prime minister or an American president or a South African leader, is surprising. I don't think all of these leaders would have traveled so far to attend the funeral of a former American president, for example. And, I think that shows kind of the lingering effects of colonialism on many of our political elites who liked to be associated with the Queen and the royal family more generally.
Yeah, because I also try and understand why they had to go, most African leaders, and it really doesn't make sense, right? And Julius Malema, he also spoke about how even the crown had a diamond that was stolen from South Africa, right? And this goes forward to show how we are still having the effects of colonialism, but we are still, I don't know, I think just kind of like just accepting it and taking it for what it is, and also, well, going to escorta.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my own family, and my family's in India, and there was a lot of interest in the Queen's passing. But I think there's a huge generational divide, right? So for our generation, I'm older than you, but my generation, my parents were born under British colonialism. They were born in the 1940s when India was still a part of the British Empire. And so, of course, there's going to be some lingering attachments for that generation who are now in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. But that kind of romanticization of British royalty, I don't think endures with the younger generation. I think Malema is very smart because many of his followers are younger people, and they don't understand why it is that the older generation fetishizes this old, corrupt family in the UK as much as they continue to do.
Yeah, it's a huge problem, and I think we have lots of problems to solve. But I didn't think this was going to be one of the problems that we have to solve.